So here's the deal. We're running out of time because winter is coming and we need to be able to be buttoned up and work through the winter. I've fallen into this trap before of thinking you have time, and then by the time you're ready to start working on stuff, it's like February and it's freezing in the garage and it's a pain to do anything. And one of the other problems that we have, just because we do YouTube and things like that, is that running a salamander all the time makes it really hard to film decent content because it's just constant noise in the background. So being that that's really our only heat source that we have at the time, and that we've had in the past winters that we've done this, we got to kind of make some changes to hopefully better suit being able to film and work on the vehicles the whole way through winter. And clearly one of the first things is that the garage itself is not insulated. So it's not insulated on the ground level, except for this back wall and the forward wall with the doors, if you want to count that as insulation. But then if we go up here, you'll see that upstairs we also have zero insulation. And it's kind of an interesting build out because the trusses come right down to the roof level or the ceiling level of the first floor. So this is just basically like an attic space up here. Which the short and sweet of that is this thing bleeds heat like within 15 minutes of shutting heat off. The only other problem after that is we're talking 17 feet just for one of these runs all the way down there. And that's 2x6s. So yeah, you're talking over $2,000 just in insulation to get this ceiling level closed up. Down the ground level, we got about another $600 worth of insulation to put into the garage just to get it buttoned up. And that's just the walls, right? Like that's just putting it in the walls, no OSB or anything on them. But then there's another thing, and I want to give a lesson here. And I feel like this is a lesson that I learned after putting in all the work to build these shelves. Ultimately, we have 10-foot ceiling height, pretty much, like 9'6" here. And by building the shelves all the way up to the top, you can't actually access anything at the top of the shelves unless you get a ladder. And then the other thing is, when you build shelves out like this, I've noticed that 90% of the parts on the shelves are things that I'm only going to need one time. And I have them on here to just sit, using up that additional 2 feet of my floor space just for the sake of basically storage. Like none of the stuff I put on the shelves, minus some tools or things like that, do I ever actually come back and use. Another challenge of a build out like this is that literally, okay, this is a total mess, I'm sorry, but that's because we're already doing stuff. But workbenches that are built in that can't be moved, you have workstations, and when you have workstations, things just get super messy because you're trying to do things like cut metal on a bench that you need to push into a garbage can. And like, I'm just giving that as an example. I'm just noticing that like, as far as when I go to work on stuff, having it fixed on a bench is kind of, it just hasn't been super helpful. Like there's space in between the shelves, yes, like about 9 feet, but I can't actually get stuff in there to work on it depending on what I'm working on. Like if I want to cut a piece of metal and it's longer in this direction here, it's going to hit my shelf, but I've got all the room over here. So Chris and I had a really good conversation about this, and I totally forgot to record the whole thing, so I'm summarizing it here. But basically, I think what we're going to do is we're going to get these walls insulated so that we have at least the side walls insulated, especially the weather wall. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I think I'm going to take everything off the shelves that I'm never going to use more than one time, and I'm going to put it upstairs, and I'm going to organize upstairs the best of my ability, but I'm not going to build any shelves up there. So like all this stuff is just going to end up being kind of loose boxes for now, and I think that's going to be okay. Then I think I'm going to get rid of all of the shelves. I'm going to take down this shelf. I'm going to take down the workbench, and I'm going to take down this big shelf system. When I take it down, I'm going to get that 2 feet of 2 feet of floor space back, and I can leave the tires and stuff down here. That floor space, I'm hoping, is going to let me use more tools, like put them on dollies and stuff so I can move them around as needed. And then we're going to fix one of the biggest issues that I've had, which is fitting 4 cars in this garage. I'm going to take this, I'm going to build a frame here to support this stair system, and I'm going to slide this whole thing essentially over 3 feet. So I can bring a landing down to about here and a stair system down to here. What that's going to do is, at this point, basically this elevation here, I'm going to be able to pull a car all the way in without worried about hitting the stairs. So then that'll give me better access onto the stairs and up the stairs, more storage space as far as vehicles, just being able to park vehicles in here. And then, since I'm using the attic, I basically have unlimited storage up there because I can just stack things as necessary, which means then the bottom of the garage gets to be tools and just basic household stuff. It doesn't need to be down here unless it's going to be actively used. So besides the huge insulation cost and the OSB, which I honestly don't have the money for right now, and I'm not sure how that's going to work in terms of getting the winter, but that's like kind of the final step. I can move this stuff around for free. I can tear the shelves out for free. I can start working on that stuff for free / pretty cheap. And, we'll figure out the insulation and the heat source as we go. And I mean, I don't know if this is the best decision, but it feels like it's going to be better than the decision I made 3 years ago to build all these shelves. And I'm going to film this process. I'm going to just keep everything on there as we go. I'm hoping it gives us more garage space so we can work on more than one thing at a time. Chris can bring his stuff up, Aiden can bring his stuff up, Eric can bring his things up and work on it without having to kind of like have a whole bag committed to just other crap. I'm also hoping it just results in less mess because I have so much stuff committed to where it needs to be. But Chris and Aiden are going to stop up. We're going to get that insulation in on the left side wall, the weather side wall, and we'll go from there. In case anyone is wondering, this is Chris. You may know Chris from this.
Holy shit, you guys just saw that! Holy shit! Guys, my bush light is gone! Oh,
So it's like 40 degrees out. Got the loud heater on. It's that time of year, so it's spring, it's gone, summer's gone, fall's here, winter's coming. So got a lot of stuff planned, and it is not very effective to have just 30-degree garage temps. It's really hard to work on cars. So Chris and I are in here. We're gonna try to get set up. Be a fairly long project. We got some insulation for the walls. Gotta move a ton of crap out of the way, get the cars on dollies, and then we can get some space to breathe, think about what we're doing for the rest of this. We got pretty much everything cleaned off the walls. Let's take a quick measurement now, see if we can get insulation on some of the easier ones. And then we can just cut them to fit. We got all this mess to deal with. In the meantime, Chris is tightening up the old Harbor Freight.
it's kind of hard without something to hold.
Dude, when I did it the first time, I was like, you can't get a wrench in there.
Yeah.
Like all my wrenches were bigger than that.
That's
Like,
the thing. I just tried one. But that's alright. I mean, that's going to be good enough. But
yeah, it sits on the wheel.
it'll be fine.
Yeah. Also, sorry for all the time lapse here because it's one of those videos where we have to get something done, and you can't do this much stuff while filming it. Just like walking down the stairs, like 6 of them. Maybe they're a cut. That one looks like it could be a good length. Oh my gosh, there's stuff everywhere, Chris. got these two parked in here, and we got this stuff pretty much finished on this side. So gonna head over here and start trying to put in these pieces until I get some backup. All right, got everything over here done, and then I've got two more columns over there and a skinny, and there's actually another skinny right there. It's kind of nice, got up to 70 degrees in here, but I'm obviously sweating doing all this, but I'm hoping to get those finished up, then head back over to this wall and see if we can get the spot right there, and then these two mini spots. Really does kind of suck when they're this size. I mean, they're just about 2 inches, 3 inches. You need 4 inches of paper. So it's like cutting one of these like in thirds almost. This side is done. Got a whole wall here. Finished up, obviously not doing the second floor yet. And I'm gonna have to put some spray foam stuff in there and just kind of stuff these other two. But everything's good on that side. So now, just getting these last 2 spaces here and that one right there. And the first floor will be finished, which is nice. Not sure if it's going to be worth much without having the insulated ceiling, but we'll see. Everything's done on this side. Just got to come and put these last 2 pieces in. We're buttoned up over here. We are finished up. Got everything stapled in here. We are ready to put some OSB on these when we get it. For now, the next step is going to be getting everything cleaned up here in the garage and just kind of going back to like a spotless garage. Work on some of the tools set up for this winter, move some stuff upstairs. Kind of line up some stuff on the shelves that we're going to be working with, and just kind of clear up the space so we can get the Cadillac in here, pull the 6.2 out. Then we can start getting on this thing, figuring out how we're going to mount it and all that stuff, which should be a pretty quick process. Just got to get the 6.2 in there in the first place so we can see what we got going on. As far as the Escalade goes, I'm hoping to kind of keep most of the parts on hand. That way we can use whatever we need to work on the Mazda. Trying to enjoy the dailies more, so I might do some more daily mod stuff for this thing, make it look so not dad car. There's a huge moth in here. And for the Mazda, this sucker's tucked away for the winter. Don't have any plans right out the gate to get going on this. I want this thing done first. So this one is really kind of just, once again, it's just a money thing. Just got to save up enough money to put into this project. There's still a good amount of money left to finish the turbo parts and then get basically a wiring harness. And then other than that, it's just some cosmetic stuff like getting the hood painted, but pretty short plans for that. Once I have everything, and I know it feels like it's been years at this point. It probably has been years at this point. But once I get there, it's just a bolt-on build as far as I know. There've been some talks with Rogue Speed Performance of going up there, pulling the motor out, going up there and working on the engine. Once again, just a budget item. Do I want to do the turbo kit before the engine build and then just kind of go from there? I don't know, but we'll see. Now for the trailer, I didn't think about this, but I really should put a dovetail on this. So I've got to cut that and re-weld it and get another brace in there to support stuff. So wasn't expecting to do that. And, you know, there's just some odds and ends that's probably going to happen this spring. And then listen, been meaning to have an update at some point for this freaking LS swap D21. What really happened here is we drove it down to put an exhaust on it. The exhaust bender broke, so we could not bend the pipe ourselves to put an exhaust on it. In the meantime of bringing it down, it overheated like bad, locked the motor up, and it only had like 2 psi oil pressure. So changed the oil out. Wasn't so great looking, it was pretty shiny looking, but you know, at this point, Eric's wanting to put a new water pump on it. He's wanting to get that exhaust finished up so it can go, and there's a couple burnout comps in 2024 and a couple local places that we've been able to find this time. There's actually going to be a cruising cars at Stafford Speedway, so hoping to go to that one. And then there's some places over near Buffalo that we were hoping to go to, And there's like another burnout comp, a burnout nationals, I believe, that we were hoping to get this thing to. We just got to kind of have the time to get it sorted. It does run still, so you're hearing right now, this thing is running. It's incredibly cold on E85, but it does still run. So we just have to kind of get everything in gear and like get working on this thing so that it can get finished up, and then go have some fun with it. But yeah, gonna end it off there, guys. It's pretty much all the update I have on all the projects we're working on, and hopefully this winter we can actually make some progress on stuff without it just being absolutely miserable out here. So I think this insulation is going to go a long way. It's a balance on the rest of it. You know, do I spend the $2,500 or so to insulate the ceiling so we can fully seal this thing up rather than get the OSB for the walls? I don't know what's going to be more effective at this point. If you have an idea of which direction we should go first, whether that be finishing the complete bottom and then insulation upstairs when we have time, or trying to just put all of the budget into the insulation and just see where we land on the other side, let me know in the comments below. But all right, I'm just talking away at this point. So that's it for this one, guys.